Take a look at what Vegas thinks these teams are going to do during this season. The over-under for Minnesota, 9, 8.5 for Vegas. Both teams expected to miss the playoffs, so you could say Minnesota kind of a pick-em as to whether or not they get into the postseason. Both play in division in week 1. Minnesota hosting Green Bay, while Vegas heads to LA to take on the Chargers. And as we put a wrap on week 1 of the preseason, let's welcome in Sportsline analyst Emory Hunt. Raiders hold off the Vikings in a matchup that didn't feature many key players on either side, Emory. What are your biggest takeaways from the way this matchup ended up unfolding?
Well, for the Raiders side of things, you have to love what you've seen from the offensive line in back-to-back weeks. I think they found something with this group and the collection of players that they have, because they've been able to run the football whenever they wanted to. They ran it to close out the game today. They ran it last week to really shrink the ball game in the Hall of Fame game. So I like the way this offensive line depth is progressing for the Raiders, because in this division, you look at the Chargers, can they stop the run? You look at Kansas City, will they be able to stop the run consistently? If the Raiders can run the football, it gives them a fighting chance in that division. For the Vikings, I love the fact that they've acquired so many of similar talents at the skill position. Every time you look up, you think you saw this receiver before, you think you saw this running back before. No, it's different players, but they all have a similar skill set. They're cross-training guys across the front, and I just like that approach, because one, that means that your offense can stay on script, stay on pace. If you're subbing guys in while the defense is getting tired, you're staying fresh and staying active with just as equal of talent and explosiveness as your starter. So I love the approach for both teams. I'm excited to see these guys continue to build on that moving forward.
All right, let's talk about what Vegas seems to think about these teams moving forward. Vegas has set the total for the Raiders in 2022 at 8.5. How does that sit with you?
It doesn't sit right with me, man. I look at this number and I'm going to go under. I feel like the Raiders can win 8 games. They're going to need some luck to win 9 or 10. So 8 to me seems to be about right. I still have some questions about their defense. I know it's preseason. You saw in this past game, Minnesota run the football rather well against this Raiders defense anytime they wanted to. And I feel like that's going to be an issue for them moving forward. They got to get better within the front seven, much more consistent. So I feel like under this number in a division that has gotten better is more easy for me to swallow for the Raiders than going over that number.
All right, as for Minnesota, we got a new regime, Kevin O'Connell stepping in as the head coach. Also elevated expectations. They were 8-9 a year ago. Now the over-under is set at 9. Too high, too low, or just right?
It's one game too high. I'm going to go under this number as well. 8-9 seems about right. And here's the thing. The Vikings have a ton of talent on both sides of the ball. We just spoke about how they're building depth on offense with their skill players, but I still look at Kirk Cousins. The numbers look great, but they don't really factor into big-time wins, and I feel like they're going to have to win some big-time games in order to crush this number. Also, they're in a division just like the Raiders are in the AFC West. Detroit has gotten better. We're not going to talk about Chicago, but Green Bay has gotten better. Those two teams have gotten better, and that makes things a little bit tougher for Minnesota, i.e. the Lions. I think that's the team they're going to really have to worry about in passing them or usurping them in this division. So I feel like 8 wins should be the baseline, but like I said, for the Raiders, they're going to need a little bit more to try to get over that 8-win mark or 9-win mark this season, but I think they go under.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.